welcome to another... Why are you laughing at me for? That's how I start.
I know.
Hello and welcome to another episode of What's the Story? Hash Brown Glory with me, Tom, and him,
Lee.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Yeah,
I think.
good.
Yeah, sun's out, isn't it?
Yeah, sun's out. We're on tour again.
Yeah,
we're on tour. We're in Loughborough.
Loughborough. And we're at... Where are we?
We're at Canal House. We're
Yes.
about to speak to a phenomenal guest.
We are.
What have you got to tell me?
I just like...
You may realise we don't rehearse anything here. We just ad-lib this bit.
It's all happening. All of it.
It's not. I prepare things.
I don't know. You probably can see that. But we're good, aren't we?
Yeah, we've been
good.
busy. We've been busy, haven't we?
Yeah.
We are planning some big things that are going to happen. Well, we'll probably record it actually swiftly after this. But we've got some big things planned. And we'll send out some ideas of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Soon. But we haven't got anything firm, so we can't tell you yet.
We can't tell the specifics, but it might revolve around Father's Day. And
oh, yeah, it does revolve around Father's Day.
Around a little...
Should we do that?
Somewhere else.
Keep Father's Day clear.
Yes.
Make no plans.
Everyone
That's a good chat.
within the radius of Leicestershire, don't book anything for Father's Day just yet.
We're going to be rammed then, aren't we?
I'm so glad.
All 5 listeners are coming.
No, we'll put this on social media and then everyone will ignore it.
Okay. And then go, I didn't know you were doing it.
You've got to tell us, ain't you?
No, this is a serious bit actually, though. I have written this down. So just this week, we've been doing some analysis on the listenership. And remarkably, a lot of you that are listening aren't subscribed. So I would like you to please go and subscribe now. If we have more subscribers, the chances are that the algorithm shows up the show more, meaning that the show can get bigger. I mean, we're getting better and better guests every week. Yeah. And better production. We're going to sack Adam and we're going to get some better production because this llama here whacked his head 4 times, putting the stands up.
Honestly, if you caught that on camera, it's hilarious.
But please, if you can, hit the follow button. It may be on Spotify. It may be on the YouTube. It can be on Apple Podcasts.
Can you share it on Spotify? Adam, can you share it?
You can share anything from anywhere.
Yeah. Share the link as well.
And share the link. But subscribing. Insta. Yeah, and if you're watching on Spotify now and you're watching the video, hit us up with a comment as well. We'd like to see your comments.
Yeah, the videos are cool. I like watching the videos.
Yeah. I listen more than I watch.
Yeah.
But I do like watching us because we are very, very handsome.
We try. Do we try?
Okay, shall we get today's guest on?
Yes.
Okay. Today's guest, an esteemed baker with a bloody lovely cookies especially. Those ones there. Over the past 12 years, this baking extraordinaire and her husband have been curating the perfect cafe culture in Loughborough. These two aren't cookies that crumble, but get firmer, chewier, and more delectable with everything they do. It's Bom Bom Patisserie's Marta Child! I tried to get some sort of,
it's really good.
Cookie puns in there.
I know. Yeah. You asked me earlier and you rejected mine.
I did, because it was crap.
It was crap.
I can't remember what you said.
It was crap.
I'm not using that. I'm not using that. Did you talk about raisins?
No.
No.
It was crap, though.
No, I cracked the raisin joke, didn't I? That's what I did. It was different conversation.
I went over my head.
It didn't. I've been trying to educate people on the benefits of eating dried grapes. It's all about raising awareness.
Oh my word!
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Adam's got his head in his hands.
That was a good one, though.
It was a good one. You can use that. It's very easy to remember as well.
It weren't.
Look at this
You can
rig.
say it wouldn't be good if I didn't get it.
This is why you need to subscribe. Look how I've got to drink my coffee.
This is why he's getting sacked.
It's true.
I want
Thank
boom
you for
mics
having
in
me
season
anyway.
3.
Yes.
Season boom.
Marta, I've been asking everyone in my prison, why have we come here to talk to you? Why do you think we've asked you to be on the podcast? What makes you who you are today? I don't know. That's a rubbish way of framing that question.
I'm not going to say the fact that someone cancelled and then there was only...
There wasn't a cancellation. I was just trying to make it sound like we were popular.
Good.
Don't say that. We can edit that bit out.
You were on the list of people to ask.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well,
just
the previous list has now gone because of we had them all scheduled in, and now people can't make them because we haven't got a cafe anymore.
No.
So we've come to yours.
that's
We've got to go on tour.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're
to be on
welcome.
this podcast. I'm very flattered. And the reason you came here is because, one, we know each other for a long time.
Yeah, we have known each other for a long time. Yeah.
I don't even know how old your kids are, but probably at uni by now.
Uni? Oh no. My eldest is
met them.
12.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I met them. They were like toddlers.
Yeah, they've all been here at some point,
Yeah.
eating a cookie and
So I think
drinking a latte.
some of the reasons why you're here is to see the journey, is to get a bit.
Well, I think you've got a
It is.
fantastic story.
Yes, it's good. It's good that you asked. It started in, first thing that I started doing was in 2012. So it's more than 10 years.
Under the Bom Bom flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I started baking some cakes at home, and then I started calling it Bom Bom.
Which means
then.
good.
Which mean good, but also it means the Bom, the little sweet
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you
okay.
get. The only difference from the French is the writing, the spelling is with an M,
N. Yeah, or an N.
rather
Yeah.
than an N in French. So yeah, that's how we started baking as a hobby, as lots and lots of people probably
Where
started.
did the passion of baking come from? Was it just like, I just like baking? It's kind of, would it come from family, or did it?
When I think about it, there's a lot to do with my family. My mum used to run a restaurant, and I used to be there
Okay.
as a kid after school. Would be there around it, seeing it a lot, helping open cases of bonbons, so for them to roll it and put it on the individual cases. And I think mainly comes from it, but also I recall asking for, when I was a kid, cake decorating magazines.
Okay.
It wasn't things on.
Yeah.
There was no internet when I was that kid. So just cake decorating magazines to look at when I was a kid. And if I think about it now, just like, oh, yeah, I did
Yeah.
like it since I was a kid.
Kind of subconsciously, kind of all the way through.
Yes, yeah. And I did sports science as my degree because I was quite sporty, and there was a thing that I thought I loved it. But it wasn't until I came here and I started doing my PhD, and I used baking as a relaxing tool
Right, okay.
that I start
Take your
making
mind
it-
off the dissertation or whatever it was you do. I
Yes,
don't know how these
'cause-
degrees work, but the workload you had to do in
Yeah, writing up for
Right,
me
okay,
was the
yeah.
worst bit. So I kind of used baking as an excuse,
Yeah,
and then
fair.
I start giving it to people, start bringing to other people to try it. And then people start asking for me to make it for their birthdays and so on. And that's how it kind of started. Then when I was at the university and I decided to have this as a side hustle, I named it as Bom Bom. So
Fair.
Oh,
at
Okay.
first there was no name, then Bom Bom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we start off with things, don't we? Like, I think with Thomas the Caterer, I just literally looked around. I was like, could I call it Black Dog Catering or something? Like, because I had Hugo at the time. But you just find something. I think it was
well, I
Thomas
started,
Catering by Thomas or something as well.
I started Rustic Kitchen just after I got married in 2014. Just doing wedding favors, just doing little sweets and little chocolates for wedding favors for about like a side hustle from development for 5-6 years. And then when we had Noah, it kind of fizzled out into pretty much nothing kind of thing, and then resurrected during COVID. So yeah, it was. I think a lot of businesses start with kind of things you do on the side of your actual job, and then
Yeah.
when they get a bit busier and
But everyone asks, isn't it, when to take the
plunge. The
next,
plunge,
yes,
yeah.
and
There's
then
never
go
a good
straight
time.
on it. And yeah,
Or never a
we can
right time, I should
There's
say.
never a right time.
Yeah.
But I did follow some of the kind of advice of saying if it's taking more of your time than your
yeah,
other job, just and if it's something that you actually have the passion for it,
It's gotta be
just go for
passionate,
it,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. If you have the what, if you know why you're doing it, saying, why am I doing this? Is this actually what I want to do? Then do it. because I don't think that it's ever going to have a financial time to do it.
Yeah.
No, I
Isn't
don't think
it?
no.
If you're doing it as well for the money, then it's probably all the wrong reasons.
Definitely, definitely the wrong reasons. Yeah,
'cause
still,
we still know about that. Yeah.
yes, yeah, that is how that's how we do it. At least, of course, you have to think about the money and the profit and
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, even just making sure that you can make a living out of it.
That's the thing. Yeah.
At my starters, I know that I didn't have a choice. I was made redundant, and I was like, well, do I carry on looking for a job, or do I? I remember walking back to you guys. I walked the dog, and I was just stood at the top of the hill going, I don't want any of these jobs I've applied for. I just want to do my own thing. And then I just went home and stopped looking. Like I just started doing my own thing. I was like, that's enough now.
Well, it's
good.
a bit like with me. I didn't have a choice really during the pandemic, and then you rang and said, "Shall we do the thing we've chatted about for 10 years,
70,000 years.
That is,
You know what I mean?
that is the
It's
other
just-
thing as well, isn't it? It's something that you always have. Oh, I always wanted to do
Yeah,
this, and you
yeah.
never do it. Never.
There's
and
always a
then it's
niggle,
like,
and I think if I didn't, the pandemic didn't happen, and I went into my other development job, I would have always had a little niggle saying, "Oh, I could have done something all right actually," but I would never have done it. I would, like I said to you, I would never have give up the wage because that's just me. You know what I mean? I would just feel like, oh, it's too risky, kind of thing.
I say the same thing with Dan. I asked them, if you weren't working in here as my business partner, what would you be doing? And he said, I think I would still be at Rolls-Royce, because that was the thing. He did his PhD with Rolls-Royce, and then he went to work for Rolls-Royce, and he changed department in there. But he said, I would still be there. And I was like, that was boring. It's like, I need things to be, a bit challenging, a bit stressful, but that's good.
And just to bring Dan in at this point. So obviously Dan's your husband and business partner.
Yes.
And he's an engineer. Is that right? Is that
He's a
his
materials engineer.
Materials engineer. Yeah.
Yes.
So because I've seen one of his videos, probably a very long time ago now, that he did. Well, he says he doesn't want to be on video, but he made this video anyway. And he did the garage.
He did a garage conversion.
That was a long time ago now, I
Yes.
imagine, but that was quite an interesting video that I watched there with all the,
and you
the
know
latch
why?
and stuff.
Things
So people
always
wanna know.
come out, things happen for, because of something that we couldn't do. It's always happened like this. The garage conversion, we wanted to have it as a garage so my mum could come and live here.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, she's not going to live in our house. Let's just convert this garage to something. We looked for builders to do it. We got contacted 5 builders. 2 of them showed up. One was our back neighbor, just across, could see the window to window, and the thing, he came and I'll give you a quote. Never got
did.
anything. The only quote that we had was about absurd, and because we had some innovative ideas in what to do, we said we want the insulation to go from the outside, because if it goes from the inside, the
you lose a
garage
foot.
is 3 meter long, is going to be like 2 meters.
Yeah.
It's just like a corridor. We don't want that. We went for outside. We want the roof insulation to be from above, not from inside. The same thing.
Otherwise
Blah
you're
blah
stuck in
blah.
a box like we are here.
Yeah, and then we want to do it, with this. It wasn't anything revolutionary, but we just wanted something modern.
Yeah.
We didn't want normal cupboards. We wanted things to be spacious. There were no divisions. The door was a sliding door and stuff. And they were just like, not going to be bothered.
I can't do that. I just want to do the bog standard
Yeah.
kind of
Yes,
thing.
they just
no
want to
vision
go
Yeah.
to a
No creativity
retail.
or innovation or anything.
Yeah,
It's
so
hard
no one
work.
took the
Yeah.
challenge, and we just like, okay, let's do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So Dan did.
Because the building's
pretty
there,
much of
so
it.
it's only
Yeah.
insulating and making it look good again, right?
Yes, yeah.
Bit of cladding of some sorts.
And the amount of things, and Dan's a material engineer, so he would kind of understand,
Yeah.
and the amount of things that he learned from it, and that became one of his passions. So much so that he's redoing the whole house pretty much. We redone the extension of our kitchen. We broke the partition there was between the kitchen and the living room, changed some stuff, and he's done pretty much all the woodwork and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that
And
he's,
within the cafes as well, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So since then,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
done all the cafes.
Yeah. So we just stop there because
Yeah.
it's an important part of the story. But just rewind. So you were baking at home
Yes.
and you were giving cakes away,
Yes.
And I imagine someone commissioned you to make a cake of some sorts, or 5,
Yes.
or 25, or whatever the number may be. At what point did you go from home baker to Derwent Drive? That's the first place, right?
The Derwent Drive was the first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when was that?
Was it always the idea to go to a cafe? Was it kind of like, I'll start online, as in some kind of way?
Never thought of going online first. I always thought of having a place.
Okay.
So the plan was, I laugh now because still, you see why. The plan was that I would get a little place where I could be making my cakes that people would order, and then they would come and collect it and stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll put a coffee machine, so then, people that come, they can have a slice of cake and then have a coffee and stuff. And if no one comes, I'll just be sat there reading a book and stuff and relaxing, just do my own thing.
If no one comes.
Yeah. And then I was like, I never
Even the
read a
worst
book.
coffee shops
Yeah.
have got humans in.
And I normally say now, like, I never read a book since.
Yeah.
No, never, sat down. What is sat down? I was like, but it was this idea of having a little thing, and just build a community, make friends if they want to sit down there, and we'd be chatting around while I'll be decorating a cake and stuff. And that was pretty much how it was at the beginning of Derwent Drive, which was the first shop that we did. People would be sat there. They would be, against the counter while I'll be preparing something. And all the kitchen, we didn't have a prep kitchen at the time. All the kitchen was behind the counter on the benches, and the oven was underneath. So that's how it was before. So we would be preparing, brownies, muffins, everything for the morning. And if we run out, we'll do some more while we're still serving people and
That's
stuff.
great though for the customers to see that, isn't
Yeah.
it? Getting
Yeah.
baked in front of them. It's
Yeah,
just
and they
like,
smell and everything
Yeah,
that comes
yeah.
up.
Is it
and
largely
stuff.
still like that now?
No.
Because everything's made here.
Everything now is moved to Canal House. That's
Okay.
why, because then we needed more space, because serving and making at the same time was clashing too much.
Yeah.
Even just the coffees and having an area to serve and to bring to the table, we didn't have that.
Because
on the
it's nice.
place.
It's a nice thing to do, but you can only do that when you've not got many customers.
Yes.
When you get a big flow of customers,
And when it starts to get
gets-
busy, and then
Your
you
muffins
have
are
all the
burning.
cleanup and stuff to do, and
Yeah.
with flour
You need to
going and
wash
stuff.
trays and
Clean
stuff.
down.
Yes,
and
yes.
Yeah.
So then it became a bit too much. So there was a storage room at the back of Derwent Drive, which is still there, but we transformed that on a kitchen into a kitchen, and it's pretty much the size of this. Is like, I don't know, 5 square meters or something like that, and had a freezer, a fridge, and all this stock of everything that we have. The big bags of flour and stuff in
Yeah.
there, plus a hob and a sink and all that. And we survived in there for a long time, because we still, before we open in the morning, we could do the prep a bit in the front and a bit in the back. So we did that, and it served as well for about, I don't know, 2 years, 16, 17, 18, about 2 years. And then we start, pushing and being a bit like, we need more space than this. So that's why we started looking for another place. And that is why we're here at Canal House.
That's why I got this place, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a thing to say though before this. I don't know if Adam would be able to edit, but you don't have to put this in. But some people ask, why did I leave academia to work, with catering and stuff? It was the relaxing bit of it, and doing, and people liking, and me enjoying seeing the feedback that they would give. But there's also always a moment of, life changing, like COVID really and stuff, and being, made redundant and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
For me, I thought that I would be working at the university forever, would maybe become a lecturer and, have kids, Dan would be working at his department, I'll be working in my department, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like a happy
Happily
family,
ever after.
yes, yeah, that thing. But then when we, I fell pregnant in 2012, but then I had a miscarriage after a while. So that shook me in a way that I've never been shaken before. You know, it's something different. You start questioning life. It's just like, what am I doing with my life? You know, if I ever have kids again, what's gonna, you know, how am I gonna be? Am I happy? Am I, you know, you start questioning and doing all of this. And then I realized, I said, I want to do what really drives me inside. I want to do it, you know, and it wasn't teaching sports science to university students. So that's how I think the really drive for pursuing that thing, because I could have stopped that as well. Say, oh no, I'm not doing cakes anymore. But I didn't. I said, okay, that's what I want to do. And that's how I start pursuing that side of the...
Yeah, I think that it is really important to just do something you really want to with your life. We're here once, you know, like we don't come back. We don't have another go. You know, we've got to spend a lot of time at work. I'm interviewing for a chef at the minute and I'm like, you know, this is a great job. You know, time here is enjoyable. It's not terrible place to be. And you spend a lot of time at work, and chefs, you know, you work in terrible conditions sometimes, you know, whereas it's lovely. Yeah. You know, and, you know, we spend a lot of time at work.
But do you still have that feeling that you didn't even work? You know, like you spend 12 hours standing up on your feet and when you sit down, you're like, oh, but it didn't.
No, it's not work. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like 5 minutes.
If you do something you actually really enjoy, it is inspiring for your children as well to see, work is actually fun. Like work can, if you do what you actually want to do, it is actually fun rather than just going to the grind of, it's a Monday again and it's the weekend's over and then you're just fighting to get to Friday.
Yeah.
It's not it's 5 days of your life gone. You know what I mean? Because you're just
because you're waiting for Friday. I never felt like that. Like, oh, it's Friday. You know what? I didn't really understand the Friday feeling because I was like, I really like going to work. I still like going to work now. Like, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like what I do daily.
Yeah.
I've had jobs where it felt like work and I didn't enjoy it for sure. It was just horrendous. Working in development mainly. That's a recurring joke that I was terrible at that job.
Yeah, so that was it. Looking for another kitchen to do. So at the time, we know the landlord of Canal House, and at the time there was nothing. They've just acquired the building. They were going to start construction, and they were looking for someone to occupy part of the building. And it would either be a gym or would be a cafe. So he knew that I was looking for someone to go. And that's when he approached me and said, do you want to come and have a look at this place? And there was nothing. There was only the pillars in here. And there's a whole, you could see from one end to the other.
All right.
And then saying, this is the plan, you know, more or less this and this. And if you want to rent, you rent this bit here.
That lead came from you just being in the network, you know, just sort of word of mouth, as it were. It wasn't advertised or anything. It was just, Marta's looking for something. You know this guy, you know, these people.
It wasn't advertised. Yeah. And the landlord we knew from ages ago, and Dan rented his first house. So the first house that he ever bought, Dan rented it. So that's how they became friends, acquainted. And then that's where, you know, every time we would chat and stuff. And it was the same person. I don't know if I should say names or whatever, but it was the same person that had opened the Peter Pizzeria in town. Okay. And during the mornings, they wouldn't use it. They would only open from 11 to, I don't know, night time, 11, whatever. And so he said, would you like to have a go to see? Because he knew us and he knew that I wanted to try something. And that was pre-dough and drive, pre-everything. Say, would you like to have a go, 6 months, and see if you wanted? You run a cafe from here, from 7 o'clock in the morning until, 11 when we come and open. So that is what, I don't even know if you know about this. We had like a 6-month cafe pre-Bom Bom that was called Morning Peter.
Right, really? Okay.
So
didn't know that now.
Yeah.
Love it.
We used to go
peeling
there.
Peeling away the layers.
Yeah, so it was kind
I'm
of...
here on What's Story Hash Brown Glory.
Yeah, we know some people that still went to Morning Peter, and then I did that for 6 months.
So that was in Peter Pizza's?
Yes, in Loughborough here.
Yeah, just around the corner.
Yeah. It's not where it is now, but it was
the original building.
The old one there. So I would go there in the morning,
know.
I would wake up about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to bake croissants that I
We've been there.
made.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
know
horrible.
that.
Donuts.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
So then you go. We would then go and drive to Peter, open it up and stuff. Dan would go with me, and then he would go to Rolls-Royce to work.
Oh, really?
And then I would be running there with one of my friends and until 11. And then after that, I would finish off and then start working at the university at 1. Because I asked her to go part-time to see,
Yeah.
that would be something I would be doing or not. So after the 6 months trial that we had there, then they've asked, are you coming back to the university or are you going, or are you, quitting? And that's all at the same time when the whole miscarriage happened. And after that, I said to Dan, I remember vividly saying this to Dan, every day that I'm not doing what I want to do, it's a day less that I'm doing what I want to do. Does
Yeah.
that make
Yeah, yeah,
sense?
Yeah.
And I said, I want
There's
to
no
pursue
point in
this.
wasting time. It's
Yes.
like,
Yeah. It's just like there's no point in me going back to academia and then doing something. And I was like, if I know what I'm doing, I should be doing it now.
Yeah.
So that's how we went forward to this.
Perfect.
Yeah. It was really good because Dan
Yeah.
always supported me
Yeah.
on that.
So when did Dan come into the fold as full time? About
Well,
30
what
years
do you
later.
mean full time? He was working full time already, even before joining the company. But there was a time at Derwent Drive. He would always come in the morning, then he would go off to work, and then at the end he would either come back and help out and stuff. And he would be the one doing the back of the scenes admin kind of payroll and all that
yeah.
for us. So there was a time when we got very busy. And then we said, we need to hire a manager. We can't be doing this because we are, losing a bit of control. Shall we hire a manager? And then we were like, okay, let's make a job description. So it was pretty much everything that Dan was doing, it was in there. And I was like, imagine how long it's going to take for us to train
that
someone
person, yeah.
to do the things that you already doing.
Mm.
And then we said, shall we do something really stupid and put all the eggs in the same basket? Yes, let's do that. So, no, but it was good.
And and for one family, that is actually a huge risk because
is.
it's one household and there's a mortgage to pay and there's bills and there's the company and everything, and it's probably one salary it's two salaries that probably became one salary for a while before it multiplied out.
Exactly,
But,
exactly it. And
that's
then,
why Melissa's never worked in Thomas the Caterer. Because it is a balance of risk there, actually. Yeah, so it's a real brave move.
It is. And then we said, okay, let's do that. And it's that I'm much more risk taker than Dan, I would say. So we did say, let's compromise and do like a risk that we can come back to. So let's give it 6 months and then see how it goes into that. If we start saying, no, we can't do this, one of us will go and find a job, or we close Bom Bom and both of us get a job, or whatever.
Because that's the worst that can happen. Like you go, sorry,
Yeah.
can't do this anymore. Here's the keys. I mean, you probably got to find someone to take you the remaining 8 years of your lease. Otherwise, you're paying for it anyway. But, it's possible to get out of and you can find it. And one of you can go back and get a job.
Yeah. But I think that two things. One is being open to that possibility.
Yeah.
Always being in our minds. And we say, okay, if it doesn't work, when is it to stop? Rather than going until you're like,
Yeah,
can't go
quite.
back anymore. Say, okay,
You
let's
kind of
just
have to
go
keep your
for it.
eyes open all the time to the whole situation. 'Cause
Reality check.
if you blinkered, you just get yourself lost down an alleyway and won't be able to find your way back, kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. So that was one of the things. The other thing I forgot now. I need to remember. The roles. Everyone say about when you working with your
roles.
partner. The
Yeah.
roles. Yeah. When you working with your partners, it can be
I'm
quite
interested
difficult.
about this. Really interested about where
Some people
things
can't
lie
get
with
on
you.
well, and some people bring things home or bring home to work and all that thing, and can get a bit messy. But quite early on in the business, when we start working together, we defined rules as if we were business partners, and they say, this is my major thing.
Yeah.
I am in the kitchen. I am, product development. I am this and stuff. I accept all the help and all the support and everything. But if there's anything that needs a crucial decision, my final, as if I own more shares on
Yeah.
that part of the thing than him. The other bit is the financial bit, the whatever other things that I wasn't doing and was his department. If there was anything crucial, it was his decision. We had times, and still am, that I'm not allowed to to give a quote to anyone because I always undermine my work. So I pay myself less than what I should be paid, as artists normally do.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Yeah, and I would give everything for free if if people are a bit, if they are my friends, if they are nice to me,
Yeah.
if they were whatever, I would find an excuse to give them a discount.
Yeah, sure.
But Dan said, can't do that. If you want to have a job, you don't do that. Because
Absolutely, yeah.
you're taking out from my salary to.
I think that's what we got quite early was
Where our roles are.
nobody gets like freebies.
Yeah.
Everyone family was just like, it's not coming out of mine. It's coming out of Tom's pocket as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to be fair
It was
to
actually,
Tom, and it's like we have to.
My mum. I know she won't watch this. She doesn't watch anything. She actually
watch
asked,
this
and I was like, no. She's like, what? I'm your mother. I was like, yeah. You're not Lee's mum. I was
Yeah.
like, and even if you were, like, you don't get, like, you're stealing from Lee if you're stealing, it's like stealing from Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't get it for free. If I choose to give you something, that's my choice.
Yes.
But you're a customer. And,
Yeah.
and it goes
Yeah.
for everyone, like
Yeah, it
everyone
does, yeah.
pays.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
We pay,
Yeah, we pay as well.
Yeah.
It goes into our, we put it as a boss discount, which
Yeah.
at the end of the month, we repay to each cafe what we took from whatever.
Mm.
And then if my mum is with me, I'll pay for them.
Sure.
Yeah.
And on
Yeah.
under our
Sure.
discount, but it's still paid. It's not
Yeah.
just taken
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the things. I wasn't allowed to comment on price of things. And then the other thing was there were things, for example, in developing product and then serving, that he couldn't say it. Because sometimes you would like to, can we do this instead of whatever? And I said, no, I'm not going to compromise on the quality for this just because of a method that would be easier for front of house. If that doesn't work, we're just not serving.
Sure. Okay.
So,
Can you give us an example of that? It's probably quite hard. I was trying to think of one then, and I couldn't. But
yeah, we wanted to serve the peri chicken that we had it before. We had with the ciabatta bread, and then we'd do the sauce and stuff. And then when people was going to eat it, when they bite on the sandwich, everything would fly out because it's quite a wet sauce. So it wasn't nice. And I was like, the experience of this is not nice. You can't eat with a fork and knife and stuff. But that bread is easier for us to prep. And, the procedures, the steps that have it from start to end, much easier. Be just like that, open up, and then here we go. But then now the new one is with an open bread, like a style,
Open
like
sandwich.
a pizza. Yeah, open sandwich, like a pizza base kind of style with the things on it, and then visually looking better. Then they can eat with
flatbread?
knife and fork. Wasn't a flatbread. It's like a pizza base.
Okay.
Pretty much a pizza base, and then with the chicken on the top, and then the rocket, and then the mayo and stuff on the top. So
Yeah.
visually better, looks bigger on the plate, even though it's similar quantities of things. And then if they want, they can just fold it and eat it as a sandwich.
Amen.
It's their choice. But it takes longer front of house to prep it, and it's a bit fiddly when there's a takeaway. It's like how they're gonna do it and stuff. It's like, well, either you want it like this, or we're not serving it because I'm not going back to the way that it was because
Yeah.
I didn't like it. So
yeah. Okay.
so that's an example. And then it's working. I'm still wanting to find the perfect takeaway box for it, so we don't have to fold it. And then when they're opening afterwards, when they are on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
takeaway, they go and feel it. But yeah, it's knowing the boundaries. That's all that we spoke a bit now is just to say knowing the boundaries when you're working with your partner or someone very close to you. Know when to say no. That's a decision. Might not be exactly what I want, and we can have heated discussions about it. But at the end,
at the end of the
that's
day,
it.
it's whatever role it is, it's their decision at the end of the day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can discuss all you want, but it's like.
And then when we are at home, we need to either say, I'm not working, not work, or say,
I
I've got.
was going to say, regarding being a partnership and a married couple, when you do go home, when does that stop? When do you just, as soon as you walk through the door, is it like, we're at home now, work's finished, or?
That is something that I had to work a lot in my head, not to bring work home, because I ended up on a thing like, okay, I'm at home, but I haven't got anything to do. I'm just going to open my laptop, and then I start checking emails and stuff, things that didn't need to be done.
Yeah.
So now I don't bring my laptop home, and then when I'm at home, I am at home. But there's no way to avoid when you're a business owner, no way to avoid, and sometimes other staff members see Dan more than I see them. And then say, oh, did Dan tell you that this and this and that? I was like, no, you see Dan more than I do, So sometimes we do have to have these conversations at home and say, can we catch up on this and this and this? So that it happens, but sometimes we just get onto it and say, I know we're not at work, but can I ask you a work question? So then we say yes or no, and then say, can you wait until whatever? And then we do have to have those.
Because it's something I've worked on over the last, since we're open 3 years. The last year, I think I've got a lot better, because the first 2 years,
Yeah, you have.
I was just like constant, and it was just a bit like all the time.
It gets harder and harder though, because
You just
of that
bet.
little black box that we carry around in our pockets.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
that is a laptop, and it's hard. I mean, you have all the notifications in the world on there as well. You just switch them off, and that'll be easy to switch off.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a tip.
I know. But then I still
Condescending
look at
bastard. But
I
it's
still
true.
look at
Switch off the notifications. They're not there anymore.
Yeah,
until
I
you
know,
look
but
at it.
But you still got to look at it. That's what. At least
That's
look
the
at
thing,
it
yeah.
quickly though. You know what I mean?
I don't have my work email on my phone anymore. I only have my personal one.
Yeah.
So I can't see it. The other day I went to do a delivery and I didn't know the number of the house that I need to deliver to. And I was like, oh yeah, just check on the...
shit.
I don't have it anymore. I had to call Dan and say, can you please check?
Yeah.
Because he was on the laptop. Can you please check the name? But I could have easily installed it because I just put the password in and stuff. I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to go down
Strong
on
move.
that.
Yeah.
On
Because
that.
then my idea was like, in the first couple of years, I need to respond quickly. I need to sort this out real fast. But you actually don't. No. You take time, think about what you're going to do, and then reply. You don't have to do it instantly. As soon as they kind of send a message via Instagram, you don't have to go, right, jump straight on it. Because that's your job. Kind of, I need to reply to this. You just give it a bit and then reply when it's your time to reply, not if kids are playing. It's not like, right, kids, stop playing, I've got to reply to this. It's like, finish playing with the kids and then go and reply to it.
Yes. Yeah. If you're a person that you can actually read a message and then not be thinking about it until you have to reply, that works okay. I've got this on my WhatsApp. I've got several messages that I read them all and then I say, this doesn't need replying. This and any ones that needs replying, I just put it as unread so then I can come back to it as well. And I need to put the unread, otherwise I'll forget. I'll never reply either. If it's read, it's out of my mind. Only things that I need to act on that I'll go and I...
About forgetting things as well. I remember forgetting things. You just do. It just slips your mind because you got so many different things. You're like juggling so many balls and that kind of thing. It's just like... I remember working at the Hammers sometimes and I was like, I remembered everything. And I was like, yeah, I won't be like that. And then as soon as you're juggling all them different things, you completely are. You completely are like that. That
is true. And that's why, procedures, having things to check every day and stuff is good. And I have about 10 alarms. Anything that I need to do. It's an alarm.
I've got my bakery alarms as well. I need to place
everything,
orders.
everything. I had, bring that to the doctors a bit earlier on. Everything. I need to cancel the bread order, and every day that needs to be done by that time, otherwise I'll miss the cut-off time.
Yeah.
Because I remember, even without the alarm, but then when I remember again, I remember when I'm there in the middle of the kitchen doing something, and then when I remember again, it's past the cut-off, and I'm just like, I just missed it.
And that's a big problem. Yeah.
Yeah, big alarm fan. Not just notifications, alarm.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the community thing that you've got going on with Bom Bom, because I think it's quite an important. Well, I think it's an important part of your makeup, and I don't know whether I think you feel the same. I think it's part of your company values, isn't it? To have community.
Yeah, it is.
But I just want to tell you a story as well that I've experienced, which I don't think you know about. You may have heard that I went to Rothley. I don't know if they told you. But I went to Rothley about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe very soon after the fire, anyway.
Yeah.
Went to Rothley, and the guy clocked me. I had my glasses on. I was incognito mode. We get recognised a lot these days.
You had a big rustic t-shirt on, didn't you?
Leicester in it.
I just had I've been on fire t-shirt. But I imagine he's the manager there. I don't know the chap's name, but he went, "You're rustic, aren't you?" I was like, yeah. I mean, he was like, "All right." I was like, "Yeah, we're okay. We're getting there." Like we do with most of the conversations, to be honest. But anyway, I paid for they said, I took all my 4 kids. So it's 4 of your milkshakes, and I had my oat milk latte, and I bought a cookie as well, because they get half a cookie with that. It's epic, this milkshake. You call it a milkshake, aren't you?
Yeah, cookie milkshake, and then you have half on the milkshake and half on the...
Cookie milkshake, yeah. And it's half in and half blended in it.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, well, I'm having my own cookie. And I did that, and I knew, I clocked how much it was going to be roughly and paid, and I said, "It's wrong." He went, "It's not wrong." I was like, "It is." He's like, "You've been through a lot. It's not wrong." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's really lovely. Thank you very much." But we've had lots of what we call them customer cuddles, like just giving a little bit of something back, like a consistently returning customer, or someone that just has paid you a nice review or something, or just said something nice on the socials or something nice. Just repay them with that little bit of thing. But it was just really nice. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't want it. I took it, but I didn't go in searching for discounts or anything, But I just felt like, well, that's lovely. There we go.
Oh,
that's part of the community feel, I think. It's like I don't know if that's a company instilled initiative, or whether he took it upon himself. But yeah, it's really nice.
I would say is a mixture, because we look to that when we're hiring people. We look for people that have got that extra bit, because you can train everyone how to make coffee.
Yeah.
You can train everyone to serve the thing the way that you want on a plate, but you cannot train people in how to give it, It comes from
it's almost
inside.
initiative, isn't it?
It's that instinct of a situation, isn't it?
Yes, it's to know what to do on at the correct time. So I think it's a bit of both, and we have on our values that we care. We care for the people. We care, but the people is not just for the customers; it's for the staff as well. So it's kind of, I hope it is transmitted to them that the same way that we would treat our customers, we would like to treat them. And then the same way that we treat our customers is we treat our food, and everything goes. And we're here to create memories. And when we say about we're here to create memories, it always fills me a bit with dread, because it's like, I want a good memory. I want the memory, that you have. I don't want like a bad memory. So
I've had many of them here.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good to hear. And I could do that myself when I was at front of house, and when I was there at Devon Drive, when I was here, when I was working. And then when you start growing, you're kind of like, what's going to happen? How about now? How are they going to do this? But if they've seen it from you, and if they see that when you deal with them, I think it makes it easier for them
kind
to
of
do it
rubs
to
off
other
on
people.
them. Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
It was good.
It's
It
really
was really
nice.
nice. It was really
Oh,
nice.
it's
So, like I
lovely.
say, I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting it, and I felt like, wow, that's really nice, really kind thing to do.
Yeah.
And obviously not necessary, but kindness isn't necessary.
No.
Well, it is necessary. That's the wrong thing, but it just wasn't needed for me. It was a lovely thing.
I have a lot of people asking me about, oh, how do you deal with people that come and sit on your cafe and order one coffee and stays for 3 hours working on their laptop and stuff. I was like, I'm really happy for them to do that. There will be times, and it happened here, and I had to do that several times, when if they occupy a table of 4 and there's no other space, but there's a hot desk, like a little hub for them to go and say, I would say, do you mind sitting in there?
Absolutely.
And then we even give them a cookie or something, just say, oh, thank you for moving and stuff. We didn't need to do anything. Just like, and so we think about those things as, I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted with people coming in.
Yeah, we talked about distractions on the phone, didn't we?
Yeah,
before
we
the-
did. Yeah.
The no, I've lost it as well now.
I want to talk about a bit of your product development on the cookie. When was the idea to have the cookie as your kind of hero item, or did it kind of just naturally come as that's the product that everyone remembers Bom Bom for? Was it like an idea? Is that right? The cookie's going to be our kind of hero item.
It was kind of Dan's idea.
You don't.
It's always Dan.
Is he a
Yeah.
reader?
In
Does he
which
read?
sense?
Does he read a lot of business books and stuff like that?
Not like a bookworm
No? Okay.
kind of thing. No, but look nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like
doesn't
the
matter.
shape of it. Yeah.
The reason I
like
ask is
how it
because
gets-
it's got BHAGs on the back. Well,
Yes.
you've got BHAGs on the back of this. So, do you know how many cookies you've made, by the way?
Up to end of last month, yeah,
Cool. How many?
about 350,000.
350,000. I
Yes.
expected it to be a lot more, actually.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you think that we started, and when we did Dough and Drive on the first years, we used to bake 6 cookies, and then hope that they were all gonna
They'll
sell
sell,
and
yeah.
stuff. I just had a look. One batch that we used to do would do about 12 cookies. That was one batch.
Yeah.
Now as one batch, it's 100 cookies. So it's different. We do about at least 7 batches a day.
So,
To-
700 cookies a day.
Yeah, to produce,
all the
to
sites.
produce, to distribute to the
Yeah.
sites. Yeah. So we grew a lot, but the selling of the cookies, it got much higher since we opened all 6 sites and stuff. So when it was only 2, that's why we are still on 350.
Yeah.
That's because the first 4 years was not as much as that.
Sorry, I was just going to read that for the listeners. They have a BHAG here, so Big Hairy Audacious Goal, which is to bring 1 million Bom Bom cookies into the world. 1 million. That's a lot,
Yeah,
isn't
they
it?
always say that in business you should have something.
Yeah, we have a similar.
big-
We have
It's
a million
What is
full
yours?
English.
A million full English. Yeah. That's our,
Yeah?
Same
that's
thing.
our top
That
one.
is very good.
Yeah, we're nowhere
That's
close
nice.
to 350,000 though.
But this
I've
is,
stopped counting actually. Well, I can count it up. In fact, I'll let you know.
Yes.
Talking about the small batches of cookies that you used to, it was pretty much the same with our ash browns, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We used to do like a small tray of ash browns that we chopped up, and now we do 10 times that amount in one batch kind of thing. And it's just like as you grow, the batches get bigger, and it's just crazy to see what you started from. It's like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is what we used to do, and we used to think that was a lot. And you go to what you're just doing now we do that one of them 3 times a week, don't we? A quadruple batch of ash browns, which is
Just to be clear, I
Amazing.
don't at all. The chefs and Lee do.
it's like 166 portions. I mean, that 3 times a week, which is just crazy. Like,
yeah. And when you are inside the business doing it every week, you don't notice
no, you don't notice the growth.
how you grow. And then was today I was looking for a recipe, and I got my old book from the first one where I was still writing things, pen and paper and stuff, and I was like, oh, look at this. Look at the amount of butter that was there. It's not even a block probably. And then,
Not having a block of butter.
and then, yeah, now it's like massive. And it's only when you come to this kind of thing, when you have this kind of conversations,
Yes.
or when you're
See how
applying for
far you've
something,
come.
that you're like, oh, actually, I did do something, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 10 years. It's not just doing the same thing.
No.
It's
You've
growing.
evolved
as-
without even realising as well.
Yeah.
It's just those tiny little 1% or 0.5% changes and over 10 years
Yes.
compound into
Yeah.
something huge. The 1% thing is massive. Like just trying to
Yeah.
be 1% better every day
Yes.
is an enormous thing. And if you're 1% every day, like I can't remember the numbers, but there's if you're 1% worse every day, like it's horrendous. And if you're 1% better every day, it's phenomenally better, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not running out of time, but we're getting short on time. Do you want to talk about
Sure.
the cooking machine?
Of course I do.
Tell us about this. This is a new
Yes.
thing that I'd learned about it just a couple of days ago, or yesterday.
So, as part of our BHAG, which is 1 million cookies to be sold, if we are just with the 6 cafes that we have at the moment, we're going to get, well, by the way, if we are on the BHAG, which is 1 million cookies, which corresponds to the amount of cookies that comes from Loughborough to London, one after the other, like laying them down. Now, I can't remember, we're somewhere in Market Harbour.
Oh, really?
There. Yes, on the distance within
So
the
it's
cookies.
350,000 cookies between now and Market Harbour.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so nearly at
So-
Thomas Towers.
Yes, yeah. So
We could take a left.
to get
Go through the kitchen
there,
and out again.
if we do it as we are now, we're going to get to London in 2035, I think, something like that.
Right.
But we said, okay, can we speed this up? You know, I want a bit more excitement and
Get on a
stuff.
train or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just get a bit more steam on it. Then
All about the
we
cookie train.
decided, and lots of people have approached us and say, do you distribute? Can we sell your cookies on our cafes? How can we get this? And where do you get this from or whatever? So we said, okay, shall we open up? Before we wanted to say, oh no, this is just a Bom Bom thing, is
Yeah.
whatever, you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the Bom Bom cookie. I was like, okay, let's get there faster. Let's go and do something different. And the other thing as well, to be able to control the finances better, we can talk a bit of, you know, profit and loss and stuff. It would be best for us if we know exactly what the kitchen is doing, what the cafes are doing. It is already on a separate level, but not as much as it can be if you actually separate them as two companies. So that's a boring part. But the main thing is, let's get this out to everyone. But I didn't want them to be under the Bom Bom name, because the Bom Bom is already a brand for a community, for, you know, other things, not just the cookies.
So the
I
Bom
said,
Bom will
okay,
be the cafes, and the
Yes.
cookie machine will be the wholesale
and then
kind
now
of.
we got Cookie Machine. Woo. Look, how nice. Developed by Dan.
Very
you know?
nice, yeah.
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 So we are going to be distributing these to cafes, so they can just bake them when they want, as
So
they want.
it's a dough puck ball,
Yes.
whatever it might be.
Yes,
And,
and
then
they'll
it's
be
with
frozen.
instructions.
Perfect.
Frozen with
Yes,
instructions,
with
yeah.
instructions and some guidelines and things, and with support if they're not, you know, getting the result that they want to have. And then there's no wastage, because they can just bake as requested.
Yeah.
And then they can keep a stock. They don't need to have a kitchen to prep them. They don't need to have a staff to make them. So that is the good thing, is reducing all the costs
Yeah.
and just getting them
Yeah.
delivered to them, so they can store, you know, in the freezer,
They can bake them from frozen. Just pop them straight in the oven.
pop them straight in the
Perfect.
oven. Yes, and then sell it for whatever they want. you know.
£1 billion
Yes.
dollars. Should I do it on
Hopefully
Dr.
they
Evil?
will sell at least for the same that we do. Otherwise, they will be going to somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Well,
that is
very good.
exciting.
So is that going to be
So-
based out of here still then?
So Cookie Machine is the new company that we're going to be separating from Bom Bom.
Yeah.
But to do that, we know that we need to grow a bit more, and Canal House is reaching the limit, or already reached the limit that we can do in supplying
Within the kitchen?
within the
Yeah,
kitchen.
okay.
It's enough for for supplying the 6 cafes.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is to supply more people. Therefore, we need more storage space and a proper production line. I want to get a SALSA accreditation to be able to sell it to supermarkets and other food distributors. I know that's like a long-term goal, but
you need them goals to aim for.
Yeah.
don't you?
Well, you need those accreditations to get the thing as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so one comes with the other, and I cannot get this at Canal House. I already know that there's no way that I can get this unless there's a lot of work to be done. It's not as a proper industrial place, so we're looking for a warehouse that we can transform it into a industrial production facility. So that is,
And that's very different as well.
yes,
There's
yeah.
loads of stuff.
Massively
You know,
different.
It's like
even
it's like Glenn took over that the butchers at the Halfcroft, and there was a butcher's there that he was like, right, well, I'll take that over. You know, they're selling up. He was like, I'll just take. Well, they didn't sell up. They just quit. They just closed the company down and moved out. And Glenn was like, well, I'll take that unit. And then I think the layers peeled away to know that, well, actually, it's not up to spec anymore. Like it was for them. They got accredited and they carried on. But actually, you know, all the money goes on the walls and the floor before there's even a table brought into the company.
Exactly. It's just having to think that we did a very good job in here for what we were planning to provide for just the cafes. But if we want to go that step, and I want the customers when they come and see us, or when we present a video to them, or whatever we're going to be, that they are confident that we're just not, back kitchen kind of whatever. We want a proper production. And if we can go a step up in what we are doing, here at Canal House is lovely, is very good, that convenient, that has got a cafe on it, so people can come and have it. But at the same time, because they're together, it will never work as this kind of kitchen, because there's too many staff going in.
Yeah.
And when you have a proper facility that will be production line, you shouldn't have that. So
you're not even allowed past the front door if you're not in civilian. If you're in civilian clothes, like you shouldn't be past that threshold. You know.
Yeah, and then the front of house attire, and
You have to have hairnets and all the white coats on. And
so they don't have a hairnet in front of house, and then they pass it on because their storage room is at the back of the kitchen and not.
sanitize your boots as well when you go in.
All
Spray my
those
boots.
things.
Just take my shoes off. My feet are clean.
So all these little things that we want. So for that, we need to evolve, and it's really sad because this is like, been.
So how long have you been here?
2019.
So 6 years. 6
Yeah.
years, yeah.
And it's been good. It's been with us through COVID and all that, doing the takeaway, doing the single line, doing
rubbish
the
stuff.
order online and pick up collection at
You had the
distance.
subscription as well, didn't you, during COVID
Yes,
as well?
yeah.
Do you still do that?
No,
Cookies
we don't
by
do
post?
that.
No.
No,
Maybe
sometimes
you can relaunch it again.
Yeah, maybe. Isn't
You've got the
it?
production capabilities, yeah.
It's true. Sometimes we have people that I forgot again what I was going to say.
Cookies by post. Sometimes you have people that want them by post.
Sometimes we get people that email us, and then they go and say, "Can you send it to Edinburgh, whatever?" Some people in London say, "Oh, I really miss it. Can you do a post?" And then I go and I'll post some. We still got some
It's
of
the
the boxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not?
The
If it doesn't cost, and it's a nice, kind gesture, isn't it?
The funny thing was, because when we had the OneDrive, we opened here just before COVID. Everyone that we knew, that was students, and really the community that we had at the OneDrive, that they were graduating, because 16, 17, 18, 19 kind of graduating after 3 years. They said, "I'm moving, I'm going to be away. How can I do it without my Bom Bom fix? And I need it." Dan came up with the idea, how about if you do a postal service to them? Then we developed this idea, okay, let's do this, let's do Cookie Club and blah, blah, blah. The COVID happened in March, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In February, we had this thing ready to go, to launch. And we knew nothing, that the world was going to close.
Yeah.
So we were ahead of
The curve. Yeah.
the curve.
So you're
on
kind of
that.
ready as soon as it hits.
It was just like a godsend.
Head of the disease.
Yes, yeah. It was definitely a godsend saying, okay, look, prepare yourself for this, because this is what's coming. And it was great. It was actually what kept the business going.
Yeah.
definitely.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yes,
We're all
yeah.
pivoted and innovated in so
Yeah.
many different ways just to try
Yeah.
and make it through.
And I was so glad we didn't have to, be panicky doing this thing because we were there. I'm like, okay, yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of know what we're doing. It's new for us as well, but at least we're not like, how do you do this? Let's
Kind of
get
scrambling
boxes
it
and stuff.
together kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how it all worked out. So Canal House served us really well. We really loved it. We were here from nothing. Dan put the walls up,
Yeah.
put all the
Yeah.
counter up and all the things, and now having to leave is a bit like, sad.
Well,
But
when one chapter ends, another one
Exactly.
starts. you
that's
know.
it. It's for a good cause. And
Things,
we-
all good things must come to an end, That's
Yes.
how it goes.
Yes. And I kind of said, I have this vision of a caterpillar, a cookie caterpillar, eating lots of things and then growing and then becoming a cocoon and having like a beautiful cookie butterfly at the end of it. That's how I put myself in. I was like, this is, the caterpillar is becoming a butterfly.
So
Yeah.
all the other sites are going to operate as normal,
Yes.
and then this one won't, and you're going to get a production kitchen
Yes.
to service the wholesale arm of the company.
Yes.
Cool.
And then all the other sites are going to order from us as if they were any other, not just Bom Bom.
Yeah, you're going to buy off yourself. It's vertically integrated.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
very
said
much.
like,
That's a lot of
Yeah.
money.
like a sourdough from the same starter. That is Cookie Machine. We just took a bit and
Yeah,
sister company, whatever
Very good.
you wanted to call it.
amazing. Well,
Good.
Brilliant.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm getting evil eyes from Adam, meaning that we have to draw the
Yeah.
the
How
line.
long
Have
we
you
talk?
got
Wow.
the questions or the quiz for us?
I had Lucas questions.
Okay.
Can I ask
Yeah.
Lucas questions?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask some deep questions, so I said, no, I'll ask the deep questions.
You can
But
ask whichever you like.
Yeah. Shoot.
Lee,
Yes.
Luca has asked if have you ever weed in any of your toys?
In my toys, you know what's happened though, right? I've not weeded any of my toys, but when I was younger, I was having an argument with my brother, and I had a little frog called Eric, and he wiped his bum with my frog.
Oh, that's minging.
I had to chuck it away.
I'm not surprised.
It's absolutely disgusting, isn't it? So
But that's how to win an
Kinda,
argument.
yeah.
Neil
so I
wiped
didn't
his
do it.
arse with
my
with Eric.
frog,
Eric,
my frog,
was it?
Eric the frog.
Poor Eric.
Oh,
Exactly.
That's gross.
So kinda.
yeah.
Kinda answered the question
Same,
there.
same level.
Yeah, definitely the same level.
Yes.
Luca will like that.
Yeah. Tom, Luca is asking if have you ever been bitten in the bum by a crocodile?
No. But my dog's bit me on my ass.
Really?
Yeah, she
Has
bites
it?
everywhere.
What? Truffle?
Yeah, she bit me everywhere.
She-
Why? What did you
Bite
do?
my tallywhacker.
Why
Um,
do you tallywhacker out with your dog?
She's just there, like, Anyway, yeah, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Fair enough.
it's not sexual, you dirty.
No, I'm just wondering why.
Adam,
it's-
I know what you're like. I know what you're into, okay? And that's just not.
Do
That's
not
just
put
wrong.
that in. You cut that off. Yeah, that was the two questions that Luca came up
Okay,
with.
I like 'em.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
good questions.
Good questions.
Yeah.
How old is he? Do
He's 6.
you want to wave to the
Yeah.
camera? Hi, son.
Are you watching? Really?
We'll have to bleep this one as well.
Yeah.
And we'll just fast forward to 1 hour and 3 minutes or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That is it. Yeah. But then the deep question is like, what was the feeling after when you receive that phone call in the morning, say, the place is gone.
For me, Melissa answered my phone because I was fast asleep and Lee had been, there's 30 missed calls. And I bolted up and she's like, fire. And I was like, what? And she just wouldn't give me the phone. And I was like, just tell me what's happening. And I eventually sort of pieced it together that Rustic was on fire and I started getting dressed and I was like, what are you going to do? I was like, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Not to fight it, but I'm going to go. Yeah, it was a sinking feeling. And a phone call I hope no one ever gets.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope no one ever, even my worst enemy, I haven't got any, but my worst enemy, I hope they never ever have to go through this, because it's pretty terrible, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been through many terrible things in my life, but this is pretty terrible.
It's it's the worst that
It's the worst
I've
thing in life,
experienced. It was horrible. I got the phone call from the bread man at like a couple of minutes past 5, and someone rang, and I was like, "Who's this?" I was like, "Oh, I'll ring back," and rang again like straight after, and I was like, "Oh," and then it stopped, and I was like, "That's weird." 2 missed calls straight away, and then he rang straight again afterwards. I was like, "I've got to answer this now," and he was like, "Oh, I'm the bread man. I'm from Welbeck. Your roof's on fire." And I was like, "What?" And I was literally like, hung up out of like shock, and then just chucked a t-shirt and trousers on, and it was like -3 outside, and just went in the car and just drove down. I was like in the car thinking, "Oh no," and then I was kind of hoping it was a prank call. I was like, I hope this is a horrible joke and a prank call. And then obviously some smoke, and it was, I literally just stood there for probably until like 9 o'clock, like 4 hours, just like watching. And then we sat
To be
in the
fair,
car
it wasn't a healthy thing to do, to go and stand there watching it burn down, like seeing all of the thing. But we actually had to be there because they had questions for us. You know, they were like, "What were you doing last night? Where were you at 5 o'clock this morning?" You know, they're not asking you if you burnt it down, but they kind of are.
Yeah.
You know, and they're, you know, it's not a healthy thing to stand
But
there and look at. But you know, we had to be there.
But also from the story, from where we've started to actually to what it's become, to see it all kind of go, and at that point it was going, you know what I mean? It's now the insurance is taken over and it's getting fixed, and hopefully we'll have some more news on that soon. But at that point there, it's gone. All the hard work you put in, and sorry Luca, a lot of fucking hard work, to see it all just kind of go within an hour, and it was just like, yeah. And then obviously the weekend, and I actually, it was my friend's birthday, and we went to London that weekend, and we were there, we weren't really there kind of thing, so we had a few drinks.
Your mind isn't
And
there, yeah.
then you come back and it just hits you again, and you're like,
Whenever we go back, it's, I mean, we're working out of Thomas Towers at the minute. If anything, we got, whether any outside catering stuff, or, you know, if we have team meetings, we just meet at Thomas Towers because it's a place where we can come together. But whenever we go back, there's that. It's a little bit sad, isn't it? Like, I looked through the kitchen the other day, and like the thing that's frustrating actually is how slow everything's moving. So the insurance said that they were going to sort of. Everyone said that, the insurance will pay it really quickly. It's clearly, you know, it's an accidental thing, but it didn't. It took 3 weeks, which apparently is still very quick. But it was a long 3 weeks, let me tell you. And then they said, "Oh, well, you know, we'll get this moving because, you know, we can save the kitchen gear that's downstairs," because ultimately that was just wet. There would have been smoke come through, but it's got wet. So they can maybe dry it out and repair it and use it again. And there's a secondary damage with fire called pitting. So if the acid hits the
smoke,
the metal, and it's not been cleaned, the soot, soot out of the smoke hits the metal, it leaves a secondary damage which starts to pit, so it means it starts to rust. That's all happened now. So that kit that was in the kitchen that might have been savable is no longer savable.
Yeah.
Like, it's all going to go in the bin. There's a skip ready for it all to be lifted into.
For us, it feels slow because we're kind of living it, but everyone that's in place and all the people that work on it are really kind of good people, and they're working really hard to get it back going. But there's so many processes they've got to go through. About listing curtilage to make sure the building
Asbestos checks,
and all these different types of checks that need to go ahead before they can actually start working, so they don't have to stop working.
Well, they've got to do that before they can even plan how they're going to work. So
Exactly,
before those checks have even done, they've then got to take a scan of the building for decent drawings to then get the structural engineer to draw the roof, because that needs rebuilding, to then do it before we can even get back in the building.
There's so many different people and moving parts, and it's taking. Obviously, this bit takes time, and people look through it and there's like nothing happening. It's like oh, what you been doing with your time? Kind of like you're on holiday. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm trying to get business back together.
I
You know
actually
what
did go on holiday.
I was gonna say,
But we might
yeah.
as
Next
well.
day, I'm just like, I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah.
booking it. The
there
only
isn't
time
anything
I'll
happening,
have
so
it, yeah, because
But yeah,
to do.
but it's for us. It's going slow, but it is the process. And all we spoke to the people that are dealing with it, they said the actual turnaround is quite quick, kind of thing.
But when
hopefully,
it's something out of your hands, isn't it? You just feel that
Exactly.
it's not
Yeah, you
going.
have
to.
Yeah, because
And
when
you know,
you're doing,
we're used to like reacting to doing stuff to get it done. You know, implementing this thing yesterday for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, yeah, we're not. We're trying to work on other things
Yeah.
as
And
a
it's-
collaborative to get things further forward.
was like, let's do pop-ups. Let's go to here. Let's do here. And it may seem simple to go and if someone offers to use a kitchen, kind of, that's great. But we've got to think of everything. We've got to think of the baggage that kind of rustic kitchen brings along. There's quite a few people that come to us on a Sunday. And if we just try and pop up at a place that only has 25 seats, if we've got 50 odd people turn up, 60, 70
More than
people,
that, yeah, it's going to be outrage.
50 people can't get in.
Before
And
you
it's
know it, you piss people off.
rather
can you
than,
reserve my space for Father's Day, please?
Yes.
yes, we can. Rather than kind of come back and it's kind of, yeah, you're doing something. We want it to be so everyone can kind of enjoy it and feel free to come along whenever they want, rather than just kind of like a bum fight for it kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
organising that and not being too hasty with, let's just do something because of the sake of doing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It has to be
Yeah,
right
it's true.
to do stuff.
Yeah.
Some more of the. Let's do a bit of a positive thing. Tell me. You don't need to say names if you don't want to, but the best employee you had and why? Quick one, just like
Callum's my best employee I've ever had.
Yeah.
I'll say his name. What a guy.
Yeah.
I think anyone that's ever met Callum will understand how
Callum's a ledge.
amazing he is and what he's done
Absolute
for me.
ledge.
And we're yin and yang. Much as Lee and I are, I know it's been Thomas the caterer. Callum's like, he's the implementer to my ideas. So I'll be like, I've got this idea. Yep, done. You know,
Aye,
and it's
good.
probably what I'm asking him. It's probably not very hard in the grand scheme of things. No offense to anyone that's, but he
he's-
knows, gets me, and does it.
that's the thing.
and
When
actually
you have
keeps me in
someone
line.
to do it for you, it's just like
tells
oh,
he-
great.
He slaps my hand. That's not, no, no. I don't have to do
but
it.
you need that as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Callum, 100%. Callum is an absolute superstar.
Yeah.
Good, very good.
For me, I would say Stu, just for that reason that you just said, that he completely gets what we want to do, like completely from the start. He's an absolute grafter and he just gets what we want to do, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
And he'll just kind of work to what we know. And he makes me laugh as well. 'Cause he's dry as fuck.
His dour chap. His dour chap. I must though caveat that with actually we have a fantastic team.
Yeah, we
That's
do.
good.
We
That's
really
good.
do. I think we can have our favourites, and that's fine. But
it's just-
they
I think
are
everyone-
fantastic, and they do work hard, and give a really great experience to the customers as well, which is vastly
Yeah.
important. You know, it's
Yeah,
as equally as
yeah.
important as how good the product
Ooh,
is.
shout out to them.
Yeah,
Well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
team, big team.
We've got a big team, and we're trying to keep them all.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. That's another thing which the insurance has been great with. We've been able to keep paying the staff and keeping them rather than them all.
Having
we
to
worked
go
3 years to
because,
get
yeah.
a good team, and to see them all go to do other jobs would be horrible. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's luckily that we've kept
Very
it on
good, very good. Yeah, best part of your job?
board.
Working with Lee.
It's working for Tom, isn't it?
It's not.
It's just the jokes all day long.
Hand touching.
You just got to weird it out. It just makes it weird.
It's funny.
No, it's just doing what I always kind of wanted to do, kind of way. It's just actually had a weird idea when we was both prepping away, and it's kind of happened. So
Yeah.
I think that's, and making people happy as well that come. You
Yeah.
see loads of people come to the cafe and they give elderly relatives hugs that they've not seen in whiles, and they gather to our place to meet, kind of thing, and to give them that opportunity is quite nice.
Yeah, it's a very reward. You will know, obviously, it's a very rewarding thing to be a part of, and to see the smiles, get to know the customers, understand their story and what they're doing and why they're even there. As to, some people might just come for a coffee, people come to work, or just all the different things, and then
we have people
serving up a fantastic product as well really helps. If it was trash, I think it would be people wouldn't come, ultimately.
Yeah.
But I think the rewarding thing of people leaving happy or even arriving happy. Like I think yours is when people arrive and they're in the place where
it's just having a place for people to meet. And if you got like a family gathering and they all come and they're not seeing each other in a while, it's just nice to be the people that have built this place for them to do that. So that's a nice thing.
Very good.
I think just the one final thing for me on that is that what Rustic gives me is not what Thomas the Caterer gives me, because Thomas the Caterer, we cook what people want to eat, whereas we're cooking what we want to eat. I'm happy to cook what they want to eat, don't get me wrong, but it's really nice just to have an idea and not have to find a place to try and sell it to someone who's getting married. It's actually just to be like, I really want to try this salad, so let's just we put it in our development role process, but I want to try this salad or whatever it might be, and then we test it and we all eat it and go, yeah, it's delicious, or this won't work, or whatever it might be. So
Good.
yeah, really nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Right, I think we have to call it a day because we're about 2 hours in, and Adam is screaming at me in his high heels. So, Marta, where can people find you? How do they get in touch if they want to order cookies from you? The floor is yours. Who would you like? What's your call to action?
So, people can come to Bom Bom.
Yeah.
And we are open at Canal House until the end of June. After that, we still have the Derwent Drive location, the Student Union. Say it again?
Can you remember them all?
Yeah, kind of. I was like, Derwent Drive, then Student Union, the Leisure Centre, the kiosk, and Wraithley. We get them for the cafe. And we are still into the building up stage of the cookie machine. It's not open to external wholesale yet, but we do have cookiemachine.co on Instagram, so people can follow us on that. That'll be great, because then that's when things are started, will start to be launched in there, and we will appreciate people's feedback, because there will be forms that we wanted people to know if they're interested in getting our cookies, how they want it, what's the quantity, how, all that. That is still need to go in, and we're going to be sending some free samples for wholesalers as well. So that'll be good.
Absolutely, we need to do that. So it's thecookiemachine.co at cookiemachine.co.
Yes.
Okay, that's on the Instagram if you know what that is, and if you don't, sort yourself out. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
See you again.
Woo.
Ta-ta.